We're going to start with a keynote address by Abhishek Kumar, who's a second year student at National Law School of India University, as well as a member of the Savitri Phule Ambedkar Caravan on College. Please welcome Abhishek.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Abhishek Kumar, and I'm a second year student of NLSIU Bangalore. It has been more than 1.5 years of my life on this campus. The first day was actually scintillating in this college, and some other days which followed. Now, I was experiencing a new whole world, and also slowly being a part of this swap culture. But then it happened. It happened that one of my batchmates, while having a casual conversation with his group of people, went on to say that how can SCs come to this college? How can SCs come to this college? And I was unaware of this statement made by one of my friends. He was actually my friend, and means I was not taken aback, yet I was tense. Not because it was happening for the first time to me or to any of us who belong to SC community, but because it was happening in this very institution, which is supposed to be liberal in nature, which is supposed to speak out, which is supposed to talk about all these atrocities and discrimination which happen on this campus or even in outside world. Now, when I mentioned about this incident to my seniors, new cases came out. I was told that one of my seniors was asked not to divulge his category rank, not to divulge his general rank in front of anyone. You know why? Because people will judge you on the basis of what your rank is in class. You heard me right, yes. In class, if you get a rank of some 1,000 or 2,000, you will be judged. You will always be you will always be a matter of discussion when people look at you and they'll say that no, you don't belong here because you did not end up in top 55 ranks. This is what has been happening, and it has happened with us as well. Now, for a minute, I can just think of this batchmate of mine who was in first year, who made this statement and say that he was unaware of the situations, of the problems which an SC faces in this college or even in the outside world, and made this statement. I can let him go off. But when it comes from your second years, your third years, and your seniors, the same kind of speech, the same kind of rant, then you have to think about it that it is a serious problem. It is an important problem which we must discuss, which we must speak about, which we must talk about. Now, so general trend which happens, which is persistent in this society about caste and education. The single term which is always related to education and caste is reservation. We only talk about the reservation and its vices, which is present in outer world, in society, and how it actually affects all of us. How it actually affects the general candidate, how it actually affects SCs, STs, and OBCs for that matter. But are we not forgetting the story behind reservation? What led to this? Why are we giving reservations to SCs and STs and also to OBCs for that matter? Not because that's not because I'm discriminated on the basis of my caste. But if it keeps on happening, are we really going to achieve what we actually try to aspire to achieve? That equality, that right which everyone should have. Can we achieve it through all these discriminations which is inherent in our nature, and if we are not ready to accept other discourses, other ideologies which people keep? Are we open to other people's thought? Are we open to people justifying reservation and saying that no, I deserve it. I deserve it and I take it with all the pride. And yes, I'm not ashamed. I am not ashamed of being called NSC. If you want to, if you want to recognize me by that name, yes, I'm proud to say that I belong to a scheduled caste. Now let's talk about how society treats the people who get reservation. People brand you with this tag. People brand you with this name. That you have got reservation, you have got the perk. And yes, means you already are in a better position than other people are. Like you get privileges, you get reservation, you get preference. Even if you secure 1,000, 2,000 or any such rank, you will end up in one of the best colleges. This is what they say. But there is a general trend of initiation of debate which happens on, so-called social networking websites, in which we talk about how reservation is one of the biggest vices of present day world, and it generally happens only when there is a competitive exam happening or is around or has happened and the results are up. We talk about how a person who is less competent, who has secured less marks than you have, ends up in one of the best colleges of India. And how is it even possible? And it grows bigger and bigger with time when someone like Tina Dabi secures top rank in one of these competitive examinations. Now, we should focus on this matter that is there an anger in society about reservation? Is there this anger boiling inside people to talk about reservation and its vices which they are facing? If yes, then why are we not talking about the caste system which has been prevalent in our society since so long? Why are we not trying to achieve this goal of annihilation of caste, putting an end to this caste discrimination by certain measures which we can take? Why don't we end this? Why don't we bring an end to this caste system if it is creating so much problem for each and every one of us? For me, it is discrimination, and for you, if it is reservation, let's sit down, let's discuss about it. What is wrong with this? What is wrong with reservation? And we should discuss. Now, I hope that people who understand caste system are aware of the situations through which Dalit Bahujans have been going through. We said that it was prevalent in times before independence. It happened before independence. Everyone was seeing, it was evident that caste discrimination was happening to SCs and STs because they did not have power. Well, what about the time post-independence? Have we actually empowered SCs, STs, and all such minorities for that sense? Have we actually done some work in furtherance of that idea of equality, of idea of giving right to each and every one of us? Well, I would love to talk about why my right to reservation is legitimate in nature. I'll share a story of my father. My father was a mediocre student. He did not have a very affluent background. His father actually supported him for his studies. He completed his BA Economics long back in that time, in 80s, and aspired to go to Allahabad University and take admission in MA Economics course. Well, when he reached college, he came to know that his seat was not vacant anymore. And you will be surprised to know that his seat was not given to any of the reserve candidates, but it was bought. It was bought by someone who had access to money, who had power in his hand, who had power to influence. And he was deprived of his right of reservation. He was deprived of his right of reservation. Now, when people ask me why it is legitimate for me to ask for reservations, as of now, I will say that had my father got that privilege, had my father had access to the reservation during his time, and had got admission in MA Economics course, he would have done better than what he is doing right now. He is a mere sub-constable right now and he is supporting me anyhow. And if he had taken the benefit of reservation, I might have been in this position to say that I don't need reservation anymore. He would have taken initiatives to teach me, to tell me that, yeah, I was treated right by our society, and you will also be treated in the same manner. So you don't have to bother, you don't have to take reservations. But no, it didn't happen. It happened otherwise. And yes, that is why I think that my right of reservation is legitimate in nature. I'll come down to the disparity which happens in our institution. Now, some of us who come from reserved category, who are the reserved category candidates, actually are not actually do not have a strong educational background. They come from certain local schools. Some of them come from very big schools as well, for that matter. But most of us, majority, comes from small schools and schools which do not actually provide them with that ultimate quality education. Now, I have heard people on this campus making statements like, you don't deserve to be here because you cannot deal with the academic rigor of this institution. So you are actually not a part of this institution. You are already out of the competition. I would love to say that if you really want to judge me just on the basis of the education which you have got, which you had the privilege to have access to, well, that should not be the measure if you want to achieve the goal of equality. That should not be the measure where you should, on which you should say that I don't deserve to be here. Let me be very clear. I'm not begging for equality anymore. I'm not begging for equality anymore. I want my rights to be given to me. I don't want this monologue to be a one-sided debate. I want people to come out and challenge reservation if they want to. I want people to come out with the reasonings if they want to say that reservation is not legitimate. And if you want to end reservation, let us say that we want to have this alternative also in our mind. We want to have this second side where we need to see, where we need to look at people, where we need to say that they are in the better position post end of reservation. If we end reservation, are we really going to be in the amiable situation with everyone in this society? A very basic argument that is made in the society and by the people, those who challenge reservation, is that you already have reservation to work in your favor. Why do you need any other right? Now let me point this out. Had reservation been working fine, had reservation been working properly, it would have led to upliftment of the society and the suppressed people of society. But in reality, if we see around us, has it actually worked? Has it actually been functional in the way we see it? There are instances of certain schools all across India where sections of the classes, I'm talking about primary education, sections of the classes are divided on the basis of the caste which they belong to. And also, the teachers are provided on the basis of what caste they belong to. And if you really want to Google it, please Google it. It's a case which happened in Hathras. It's a district in UP. Now, are we really going back to the time where Dalits were not allowed to drink water from the same tumbler, were not allowed to sit on the same pedestal where upper caste sat? Are we really going back in time and not actually doing anything to ameliorate this situation? Now you see a mechanism working against reserved category, even in educational institutions. And this is why we should discuss about what is the relation of caste and education, irrespective of the reservation and all such perks which you think that I have, which you think that SC/ST communities have. We need to discuss it because it is the primary and the important topic of this art. there are many questions which hover around my mind. Some of them are like these. And the first one is that, so if we stop providing reservations to all socially and educationally backward classes, is our society ready to accept us as equals? Is our society ready to, to just hug me with the same feeling of equality, with the same feeling of with the same feeling of happiness and friendship like they do with the other people? I would like to end this conversation. I'd like to end this with reiterating my point that I'm not begging for equality anymore. I want my rights to be given to me. Thank you.